Ladies and gentlemen, this RedGamingTech.com video, I'm going to be taking a look at a new feature from Nvidia called the GeForce Experience. This basically allows you to optimize certain games. At the moment, there are 42 in all on your system automatically, as well as do other bits and bobs such as update your drivers automatically and so on. Now on my system there are a few issues with the game. Predominantly it's detecting a couple of games twice. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's because I've uninstalled the game and then reinstalled at a later date and the registry key has decided, hey, you know what, I'm actually not going to work correctly. But regardless of the fact, for the most part it's a pretty cool application. And in fact, a couple of these games I've even uninstalled, but regardless, we're going to be taking a look at it. So I'm going to take a look at, I think, preferences first. Why? Because it just makes sense, that's why. Anyway, this is a beta, and by beta, it's an open beta, so go ahead and download the application should you so desire. Now, you can report feedback, and bear in mind, because it's a beta, this thing can crash. And I'm not going to promise it won't crash, okay? So what you can do is you can basically use this thing to kind of optimize your gaming experience. One of the problems I'm sure many of you will agree with is that PC gaming is, to some people anyway, let's go with daunting. They feel it's a challenge because they're not sure, hey, you know what, I don't know what settings to use on my games, I don't know how to optimize my hardware, I don't know what the best hardware is to buy. Or they plain simply just can't be bothered to spend the time optimizing. And this is particularly true, let's say, if you're a console gamer. But now, with this software, it's by no means the only step. Now, I'm personally hoping, obviously, it still allows quite a lot of manual tweaking. But anyway, as I said, there's 42 games in all. I don't have the list on me, but these are some of them. So you can see some of the big names there, such as, say, Crysis 2 and Diablo. I'm not really sure where you need to tweak that. It's basically, you know, it can be run for free anyway. Obviously, you've got Skyrim and Black Ops, and of course Batman. But anyway, I'm going to go back to here. This is, oh, actually, I'll go to the General tab first. So obviously, you can see the About. In other words, you know, the licensing agreement, supported hardware, which will bring up a page, and this allows you to see various bits and bobs. In other words, what software and all of that you actually are going to be using to run this darn thing. I'm just going to quickly open up again. Sorry, that's just out of the recording window, but you know how it's like. You've also got Windows Event Login. This would basically be if you're having crashes, that type of thing. I'm not going to go into that, as that would bring up a whole new set of issues, so I'm not going to go into that. You can also change languages should you so wish, and there are a bunch of them to go through, including United Kingdom English, should you so wish. I'm going to be using United States, however, because I usually, use that as my default, no real reason. Anyway, under games, you can have different games. I've actually nuked a few of them. It actually, rather strangely, selected quite a few folders that had no games in them. It actually seems to take folders like if you have game or gaming or anything even somewhat similar to that. It says, hey, you know what, you've got games in there, don't you? And it jumps on them. It actually grabbed quite a lot of RGT stuff, so I had to remove that. So there's actually quite a few folders that are removed. I've also got nothing really programmed files, but I just left it in there just because I didn't want one file in there. I have got more folders, but I didn't want too much stuff in there just to convolute things. Anyway, you can recommend optimal settings, which is fairly self-explanatory. Nvidia collects game usage and performance data to improve user experience. Notify me when optimal settings are updated. Sure, why not? And automatically apply optimal setting updates. Now let's go to drivers. Fortunately, mine are a little bit old. I actually forgot to update them. You see, they're a few days old, and there's actually been a later driver right there. So I can go ahead if I so wish, and I can download that from here. I'm not going to do that for obvious reasons because I don't want things to, go weird on me. But you can just click on check for updates if you want to check automatic, if you want to check manually, and you can see at the bottom it says, hey, you know what? It's just kind of ticks along for a second. Sorry guys, I'm actually quite thirsty. I'll be honest. If I sound like I'm not making 100% sense, you'll have to forgive me. It is coming up to 11 p.m. in the UK, I had some issues recording some games today for you guys, and so it really put me behind schedule. So I could only apologise if I sound a bit, it's not because this subject matter is boring, it's just because I'm pretty darn tired. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna, if I wish I'd have made myself a coffee, but I probably wouldn't have slept. Anyway, what was I saying? Ah, yes, I was saying I was tired. Anyway, stop whining and get on with it, man. Right, Batman Arkham City. So you can see that the game does detect. The application does detect what I've currently got in game. I'm using some fairly interesting settings, mostly because, well, I'm recording. Now, I'll be honest, I'm actually not having issues with the game running like this. Now, you can just say, hey, you know what, I want to optimize this, and it would do just that. So, in fact, it's fairly strange, to be honest, because in the case of, say, Far Cry, it doesn't actually recognize what I've currently got. I don't know why that is. I did actually reinstall Far Cry due to a problem a while back, to do with well, just multiple issues really. But somewhat strange. I don't know if that's a new directory I've got it into, but it doesn't seem to have updated that. Let's go to somewhat Skyrim. Okay, so these are not images that I've taken, by the way. These are just, ones that they've kind of just gotten to kind of let you know what the heck is going on. It's kind of nice shots actually they've got, incidentally. So you can actually just mouse over and it will tell you, hey, this is what this affects. Now this is quite good for those of you who are not that familiar with the game, as it would allow you, or should I say with technical stuff, because it allows you to figure this stuff out. For example, radial blur quality, you can see what the heck that does. You can see object fade, and all this other bits and bobs. It's quite nice. Now, let's go with something like that. You can see grass fade. So reflect trees. I think some of this stuff is fairly self-explanatory. I don't think you need me to tell you what, I don't know, say active fade. That's fairly, descriptive, but it might not be to some people. Anisotropic filtering improves sharpness of textures in the game. That some people might not know. In fact, give me a slap if I don't do this, by the way. I am supposed to release a video to you guys which will explain what this stuff does, okay? Such as anisotropic filtering and, all this cool stuff. I will release a video on it because I keep meaning to. But, yeah. Anyway, set the number of battle wounds, scars, and all that kind of thing. So, it's fairly accurate, is what it comes down to. I'm going to go to a different game. Let's go with Call of Duty multiplayer. Incidentally, I am supposed to be releasing videos for you guys on my Call of Duty exploits. I just happen to suck absolute balls. I really am bad. I think I'm like, I don't know, maybe 22nd or 23 in rank. I haven't really played it that much. I'm really bad. I mean, I could just about, if I'm doing well, maintain a 1-to-1 kind of kill ratio. Maybe slightly less, to be honest. I'm really not good. I think one of the issues I have is I can't find a weapon I really like. But anyway, I'm completely going off the point, aren't I? Anyway, shadows, I think that's fairly self-explanatory. But it basically allows you to just kind of select things. And, hey, this is what it wants. So let's say, for example, actually in this case, I've got everything on. The only difference is that in this case it's saying I shouldn't have FSAA. Now, I wish you could actually change some of this stuff. For example, let's click on Optimize, using optimal settings, okay? And now we're using this. This game is optimized. Okay, so you can revert it, should you so desire, and you can optimize again. Game's optimized. Okay, let's click on, say, Black Ops 2 Zombies and then click on back. Okay, using optimal settings. You can revert it. Now, what would I like? I'd like, to be honest with you, to see more of a tie-up. One issue I think a lot of PC gamers will, I think many of you will agree with this, and that's simple. And that's a lot of games don't have demos built in anymore, and they used to. What I'd like to really see is as well for you to be able to set it right here. Similar to the Nvidia profiles, I'd like you to be able to set it here. I know that that would kind of make things even more lengthy, but I think it would be pretty awesome, and I'd like you to be able to switch between them as necessary. I do quite like how the game it does in, say, the Black Ops, there are different X's, which allows you to actually create something very unique for each profile. For example, let's say your system is just about able to run the single player at max, but you might want those extra FPS for multiplayer. I do quite like that. I think that's quite a smart decision on their part. But anyway, I'm just going to go through one more just because I figure I'm going to go with Diablo. Why? Well, actually, I'm not. I'm going to go StarCraft because, well, yeah. I don't really know StarCraft that well. I'm actually really, I was going to say shitty, but to be fair, I don't really play it that much. I really should, as I really like the look of the game. You know what it's like, guys. It's just the time factor. You know how it is. Anyway, lighting. And you can see the basic ideas, reflections, and so on. And you can see what they recommend and what I recommend. Now, why am I saying something? Oh yeah, I'm recording. There you go. Yeah, some of my stuff is a bit odd because I've been recording or whatever, so you have to excuse some of the rather odd settings on my part. Yeah, I know they're a bit weird, such as the anti-aliasing. That's because normally I force it on the control panel. Anyway, yeah, I'm quite liking it. There is room for improvements. I'd like you to be able to change what's current. I'd like you to be able to choose your own version of optimal. I'd like to be able to just change that a little bit. But for the most part, it's pretty cool, and I do like the fact that it allows you to check drivers. Is this going to set the world alight how it is? No. Quite frankly, it's not. It's not going to make me think to myself, sweet jeez, this is the best thing that's ever happened to PC gaming. However, it is an improvement, and that's good. So, yeah, I'm all for improvements on these type of things, as you guys might know. Anyway, I'm going to cut this video now, because I need to edit all this stuff before, and then somehow manage to sleep. So yeah, wish me luck. So take care of yourselves, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the very brief look at this thing, and I will see you around soon. Bye for now.